is Teenage DC Fan, back with another video, and this is another episode of Crisis News, where I talk about all the latest news about Crisis on Infinite Earths. And we've got a lot of information to talk about in this video, so let's jump right into it. First of all, Keaton Lonsdale, who plays Kid Flash in the Arrowverse, will be back in this season for the Flash, but will not be a part of Crisis on Infinite Earths. So he will not be in the crossover at all. So yeah, that's basically my only piece of news for the video. I mean, the rest is pretty much set photos, and then there is something at the end that can be taken like semi-spoilerish, but I'll warn you before we get to that part. So without further ado, let's start looking at the set photos. Alright, so here's the first set photo, and here we can see Tom Welling as Clark Kent, posing next to the Arrowverse's Clark and Lois and Clark. So it's cool to see these two Supermen standing side by side, and I mean, I still can't believe that we're actually going to see Tom Welling back as Clark Kent. I mean, that's still crazy to think about. And then you can see that they're on the farm from Smallville, because you can see the house back there. That's just really awesome. But moving on to the next photo. So here we can see, going from left to right, we have, well actually, I'm not going to go over the actor and actresses' names, because most of them I don't know, so I'm going to call them by their character names. So from left to right, we have Barry Allen, Constantine, or John Constantine, if you want to add in the John, but I just call him Constantine, Jonah Hex, Sarah Lance, aka the White Canary, and Mia Smoke. Yeah. So I'm not sure which episode this will be in, but I already made a video before this, telling you about how Jonah Hex will be in this crossover, and then all of these other people here are obvious to be in the crossover, except Mia, because if you don't watch the shows, and you don't know who Mia is, she is Oliver Queen's daughter in the future. So they have the flash forwards on Arrow. It used to be flashbacks, but now they have flash forwards, so it shows the future sometimes. And that's his daughter. So it'll be interesting to see why she is with these heroes. I've been hearing some theories and rumors that she will be time traveling, and she'll end up in the present, and that's how that Birds of Prey type show will happen. So I made a video last week about how there's a new show coming to the Arrowverse, I think next year, and it's starring Mia Smoke, Dinah Lance, and Laurel Lance. Not Dinah Lance, Dinah something. I don't know, but Dinah, Laurel, and Mia. And I was thinking that it would happen in the future because, you know, she is in the future. Like, in present time, she's not born yet. But if this rumor and theory is true, then that would explain how it would be happening, and it would still take place in the present time, but it would be Mia from the future. So that would be interesting to see. But then here we get a good look at Brandon Routh as Clark Kent. In my first episode of Crisis News, I showed off a picture of Brandon Routh as the Kingdom Come Superman, but here we see him as the actual Clark Kent part, standing outside his office, I'm assuming at the Daily Planet. And this version of Clark Kent and Superman, his Lois Lane is dead. In the comics, this version of Lois Lane was murdered by the Joker. So, yeah, I'm thinking that's what will be going on here. I don't know if the Joker will actually be in the crossover. I made a video about the possible rumor and, just possibility of Mark Hamill being the Joker in the crossover, but nothing else has come out about that, so I don't think that's happening. But here we see a good look at the Flash and Black Lightning teaming up, and you can see that they're on the Wave Rider, the ship that the Legends use. And this is a pretty good look at Black Lightning's new suit that we haven't seen in the season yet because it's been one episode and he's still locked up in the ASA or whatever. But yeah, it's cool to see these together because, like, this is the first time that we're seeing Black Lightning with any of these other characters. So I'm really liking this. And then here we get another shot of the Flash, but this time standing next to Tyler Hoechlin and Brandon Routh's Superman. And Grant Gustin, the one that plays Barry Allen, the Flash, is actually like a huge fan of Superman. So this has to be like an awesome moment for him standing next to not one, but two Supermen. I mean, that would be awesome. And then here is a photo that I couldn't get rotated, so you're going to have to turn your screen to look at this part. So sorry about that. But this is a photo of a newspaper that is appearing in the crossover, and it says Wayne Tech CEO Bruce Wayne to marry socialite Selena Kyle. And then it has a picture of Bruce Wayne, but this is the Michael Keaton version of Bruce Wayne. So this is cool because we already know that we're getting a bunch of cameos from actors and actresses from different DC movies and TV shows. Now, Michael Keaton's Batman won't be in the crossover, but it's cool to see that they still have references like this in there. So we still know that it's part of the whole universe and everything, you know. And then for this photo, this is our first on-set look at Burt Ward, who of course played Robin in the 60s Batman TV series. So we don't know who he's playing. I'm thinking maybe just an older version of Robin, but I don't really know for sure. His sweater is very reminiscent of the Robin suit because it's red with the green and yellow and the black. But I don't know why he would be. Yeah, I don't really think you could do an older version of Robin, especially this age of Robin, because I don't think Robin would be fitting in the tights at that age. So yeah, I don't think he's playing Robin because, I mean, even Dick Grayson, like, he didn't want to be Robin anymore, so he became Nightwing. But I don't think Burt Ward is actually going to be fighting crime in this crossover at all. So, I don't know. But then he has a dog with him, and some people have been theorizing that this is Ace the Bat Hound, so that's Bat Dog. I don't know, that would be cool to see, but I doubt it. I mean, we don't even know if they're actually filming during this part. Burt Ward is actually an activist, and like does a lot of stuff with pets and animals and stuff like that, and like he has a dog of his own, so maybe that's just his dog. I don't really know for sure. And then here is one of my final set photos that I found, and this is probably the best one because it's a group photo, and this is just like last year for the not last year, the year before crossover, the Crisis on Earth X crossover. They did a group photo like this on the Wave Rider where they were standing on the steps and it was like the whole group. Now this is definitely not everybody in the crossover, but it does give a good look at some new characters and new costumes that we haven't seen before. So before I get into details, I'm going to go over who's in the picture. So in the front row, going from left to right, we have the Monitor. Then we have Isis, West Allen. Then we have Pariah, Harbinger, and Kingdom Come Superman. Then in the back row, once again, left to right, Superman, Ryan Choi, Elongated Man, Black Lightning, The Flash, and John Diggle. Now, let's break down this picture because there is a lot going on here. I think we'll start off with the back row. So, on the right side we see Diggle, and he is, on Arrow, he is Spartan. I think that's his superhero name, but I mean, that's besides the point. The point that I'm trying to make here is that he has a superhero outfit. Like, he has a suit, he has a helmet, and, like, he just uses a gun, but he's still technically a superhero. And he is the only one here, other than Ryan Choi and, Iris, that aren't wearing a superhero costume. Iris, of course, isn't a superhero. And then Ryan Choi, in the crossover, he's first getting introduced, and he will become the Atom, but he wouldn't be the Atom yet. So, then the question comes to mind, why is Diggle not wearing his Spartan outfit? Maybe it's because he becomes a Green Lantern in this crossover, and he's not wearing the outfit for the photo, because of course that would spoil stuff. So that's my theory. So I think that, like, Green Lantern confirmed, and I think that would be really awesome if he actually does end up being Green Lantern. So yeah, that's my theory on that. And then, Flash looking normal like he usually does. Definitely got a better suit than he had last year. Then we have Black Lightning with his new suit. Elongated Man, looking like he normally does, but this is the first crossover that he's in, even though he's been a part of the Arrowverse for the past 2 to 3 years, but he hasn't been in any other crossovers. Ryan Choi, I already talked about him. I mean, he wouldn't have his superhero suit yet, because he wouldn't be the Atom yet. Speaking of the Atom, I believe that Brandon Routh's, version of the Atom will probably die in this crossover, because we know that his character's leaving the show of Legends of Tomorrow. And the season of Legends of Tomorrow starts, like, the first episode of Legends of Tomorrow is the crossover. So maybe he'll die in this, and then that's why Ryan Choi would take over. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see. Then, of course, Superman looks like he normally does. Monitor looking the same as normal. Iris looking cool. Kingdom Come Superman looks like he did in the photos. Then we have Harbinger. In my last episode of Crisis News, I showed the promo image of her. And, of course, she looks the same. But now on to the biggest part of this, Pariah. So we see Pariah here. And, yeah. So I'm not sure if this is going to be, like, another version of Harrison Wells. Possibly, because, of course, played by the same actor, Tom Cavanaugh. So maybe it's a different version of Harry Wells, but I don't know. But if you've read the Crisis on Infinite Earths comic, then you would know that Pariah actually plays a big part in that, and he's, like, the whole reason the crisis is happening. And if you look at a comic a comic comparison to how the suit looks here, it's very comic accurate, and I really like this. Like, I never read the comic, I've never heard of the character, but even without knowing who the character is, I just think he looks awesome, and I'm excited to see what he does, especially because he's played by Tom Cavanaugh, and he's, of course, had a big role in the Arrowverse. So, yeah. Now, it is time to get into one last set photo, which is actually a bit spoilery. Not really, because it's kind of something that we all assume will happen. But if you haven't read the Crisis on Infinite Earths comic book and you don't know anything that happens in it, or you don't know anything that's happening in the crossover, and you don't want to know, then leave the video now. It is about what the end result of the crossover will be, but it's, like I said, it's kind of obvious. Alright, so you have been warned. But here we go. So this is a picture of the Weather Witch. So the Weather Witch is a Flash villain, the daughter of Weather Wizard. And I didn't have the other set photos on here, because I didn't want to have too many. But the other set photos show that the Flash and Supergirl are teaming up to fight the Weather Witch. And then also Alex Danvers and Brainiac 5 are there. Now, the weird thing about that is the Flash and Supergirl live on different Earths. Supergirl, of course, is on Earth 38, and then I believe the Flash and, like, basically the rest of the Arrowverse is on Earth 1, I think. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's Earth 1. So this basically confirms that at the end of the crossover, at the end of the crisis, that all the Earths will merge into one. And apparently that is what happens in the comic book for Crisis on Infinite Earths. All of the alternate universes and Earths and planets merge into one. So I'm not sure what that means for alternate versions of characters, like how they're going to merge into one and stuff like that. But this basically confirms that it will happen, and this will be like after it happens, this fighting the Weather Witch will kind of be like a demonstration, an example of how things will be going forward. How, like, Supergirl can now fight Flash villains without traveling to a different Earth, because they're now on the same Earth. And that's pretty awesome. But that is all I have today for Crisis News. Stay tuned for my next episode of Crisis News. The Crisis on Infinite Earths, like the filming, is almost done, and the actual crossover is in December, so we don't have too much longer to wait. But if you are going to watch these shows, the crossover, then I definitely recommend that you stay tuned and watch the actual series that are on TV, on the CW, that are building up to it, like The Flash, Black Lightning, Arrow, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, all that stuff, Batwoman. Because if you don't watch those, you're going to be confused, because a lot of stuff is built up in that. But this has been the latest episode of Crisis News. Post your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in my next video, so I can bestow all my DC knowledge upon you.